Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your main man, AV the Hero, back again with another video. And yesterday we started this conversation, but like I said, I was on my way to see that movie, Us, directed by Jordan Peele, horror film, excellent movie. Excellent. That's not, and this video is not sponsored by them, so I'm keeping it 1,000 out with you when I tell you that is a dope movie. Go see it. But we started this conversation yesterday about this huge news inside the Big Baller universe, with this article that came out from ESPN yesterday, where Lonzo Ball was basically saying that he was cutting ties with Alan Foster, who was the co-founder of the Big Baller brand. Him, LeVar, the family, they put that whole thing together. And Lonzo was saying that because there was some discrepancies with the money, $1.5 million coming up missing somehow, some way, that he was going to take his talents elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? Or they were going to have to figure some things out. All right. So yesterday we started to get into this a little bit, and like I said, I had to go, so we couldn't do that. But in that amount of time, you know what I'm saying, had some conversation with some folks, you know what I'm saying, and people who also are interested in inside the baller universe. And so today, man, I really wanted to sit down with you all and just go through some scenarios and what's potentially happening, and then just kind of talk about it. But so I really want to start here though, right? And where I want to come from with this thing is some context on what I feel like is important before you can actually discuss the situation, and especially before I can discuss the situation, because I think that what happens a lot of times is folks be jumping in and they have their opinions, but we don't understand what information they may have or why they may say things the way that they say things, on the account of not necessarily understanding where they're coming from with things, right? So what I think is important is, for one, for me, man, when I even started talking about Big Baller brand and all of those folks from the get-go, it was more so about this family, this black family, who was changing the narrative of like what it looks like to get to the NBA or be a professional athlete, a sponsorship deal, doing something, going completely against the grain, stepping out on the limb and doing some groundbreaking shit. That's what I seen it as. I seen it as a father who had put this time in with his kids. They was all going to UCLA at the time, 3 scholarships, all highly recruited players, and then also building this brand behind it. So for me, man, it has always been like this story that is uplifting and this positive thing. And that's the reason why I began to talk about them. Even before I met them, I was only saying hella positive things about the brand and the folks involved, because I felt like it's dope. It's dope to see that kind of stuff on TV, or like when you see a dad who is also the CEO of his own brand, an apparel company, and the way that they were able to move and make things happen, like that's dope. You don't see that. Like you see guys in power who are, you know what I'm saying, either the athlete or entertainers. What is the songs, everybody talk about this in the hood, you need to rap or act in order to be in power. So when you see a guy who's just a dad who got to a place where he was basically the biggest name in basketball outside of LeBron James for a long time, simply off of being an involved father. Some people may say too involved father, but to me that's inspirational for not just me, but I felt like for a lot of people. So while I think the media at that time was trying to make it seem like he was an abusive dad or a terrible person, I felt like I wanted to add some context or perspective on it, that this is actually somebody who's doing something that anybody can do if they're willing to put the time in, right? Willing to take your sons or the kids in the neighborhood, start a team, coach that team, you know what I mean? And just foster the talent of a bunch of young men. Because I think that's the thing that people miss when they talk about LeVar Ball. They don't realize how many lives he's impacted in that area outside of just his boys. Even when you think about the JBA, and we'll get into that, how many folks were involved with that and how many young guys' lives have been changed in some sort of way because of that. To me, that's why I started talking about this, right? So it's never been like this idea of like I'm about to expose them. I'm about to, or that's never been my content. My content has never been like some shit that where you could watch it and be like, oh, he just hating, right? You may say the opposite. You may say, yo, he too positive, but you never gonna say that he just hating. So in this conversation that we're gonna have about this thing today, I say all that to say I'm still not going to go down that lane where I'm like, yo, I told y'all I'm finna sell these wolf tickets. Oh, this person terrible, that person terrible. It's not going to do that. But what I will give you is my opinion on it and some of the positives and potentially negatives that you could take from it, because I feel like one of the things that I have always been, despite what some people believe, is been honest with my opinion on all of these different on these different situations within inside the big baller universe. Also, what I'll say too is I think is important to say is that my relationships with like LeVar and Melo, VAR and Allen and all of that stuff, like I know both of those guys, you know what I'm saying? I talked about this briefly in that video yesterday about like whenever I was making this type of content about the big baller brand and somebody reached out to me, it was Allen who said, yo, somebody reached out and they said, yo, Allen, like, yo, we AB the Hero, we see what you've been doing, man. We want to send you some stuff. And then it was Allen. And then it was like, yo, why don't you come out? I went and met them in Chicago and all of this stuff. And then I got to like FaceTime LeVar and all of that. And then so just in my interactions with them, it has been through Allen. You know what I'm saying? And I know that everybody been hitting me up about the old boy RW and being like, yo, RW said it a long time ago, such and such. And like, so even in that moment, his interactions we both were interacting with Allen. We both had different interactions at that time, right? But so in these times of being out there, like obviously I like stayed at LeVar them house. You know what I'm saying? LeVar cooked the breakfast and everything. Being in Europe, we were on tour for like 2.5 months. I think LeVar was there for the first month or so, and every day we wake up and get breakfast and talk about everything. You know what I mean? So I feel like over the last like 8 months that I have built like some type of relationship with both of those men, like individually. And one of the big things that I can say is that I know how much each one of those guys was riding for each other, how hard they was going. If you would have, in the past couple months or years, if you would have said anything bad to LeVar about Allen, he not trying to hear it. You couldn't tell him that's his brother. If you would have said something bad about LeVar to Allen, he wasn't trying to hear it. That's how tight they are. That's how tight they were. Just on anything. So to me, the situation is whole like crazy because I know that both of those guys have to be extremely hurt and bothered and devastated by the way things have happened and the way that article portrayed their current situation, because these are two dudes who looked at each other as brothers. These are guys who really been like, if you go to their house, like everybody lives in that big ass house. Allen, LeVar, Tina, the boys, like everybody in there. They've traveled the world together, new experiences. They've built an empire together. So for it to be on like the brink of destruction right now, I know that all of those dudes right now are hurt and bothered and on the deepest level, right? As if you think like, if that's your brother, for one, you don't ever think that there would be a situation where this type of money would be coming up missing. And then if you didn't do it and that's your brother, you would hope that there would never be a situation that they would believe you would do something like that. You know what I'm saying? So in both of those situations, I know that they both torn up over that. You know what I'm saying? So it also pains me because I know that in the short term, things are potentially going to be worse than they will get better. I feel like history will represent the Big Baller brand better than like the media will in the upcoming weeks. Because what I think is going to start happening is, because it looks like the ship is coming apart, everybody who has ever had a bad experience is going to come out and be like, yo, I said it, I told you, I knew something wasn't right when this and this, and you're going to start to see that happen more. And I will say that from my experience, especially working with the JBA and stuff, like, one of the things that people don't realize is the JBA took 64 guys, 64 young adults, teenagers, gave them money, and then traveled with them around the United States, and had not one major debacle off court, right? You had some things that happened during the games. You had the money situations, but with the players, nothing that happened negatively like actually hit the media, right? And I feel like it's not because nothing happened. It's just because everybody kept that in, and everybody was trying to stay down with the ship, so then that way they could have their opportunity the next time things come around, right? So in the season, you're not going to jump bad because, yo, you're trying to make that JBA USA squad. Now, if something ain't right, you trying to get back to season 2. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to get back to JBA USA season 2. So a lot of folks who may have been disgruntled was trying to hold things down so that they could get their second opportunity. So now I feel like you're going to have a lot of folks who feel like now they finna take to their platform and speak their mind, and this is what happened and this, and then start to just list off every potential negative experience that they had. But like I said in my video yesterday, even if you look at the job that you had that you love the most, there are certain things that you can say like you didn't deal with, you didn't like, you know what I mean? It kind of ticked you off a little bit. And if you break those things down in a microcosm, then like other folks would be like, yeah, man, I don't know why you left, why you didn't leave sooner. You know what I'm saying? And I think so you're going to start to see those things, and you're going to start to see people jumping out the window and selling out on everybody involved in that situation. And to me, that's going to suck, because truthfully, when all of this is said and done in 10, 15 years from now, 5 years from now, because we got a short attention span and we start retroing things much quicker than we used to, people going to look back on this moment, and you're going to be able to tie things that will become the standard in sports, professional sports, shit, college sports, amateur sports. You're going to be able to tie it to this moment in time, right? And it's going to suck because it's also going to have an asterisk and this kind of dirty shadow behind it because of this situation and the way it seems like it's going to be played out. But you don't know, and I'll get into that some more of what I say seems like it. And I think like if you really think what they were able to accomplish in such a short period of time, part of the success of what I feel like, so somebody said this to me the other day. They were like, I don't think you honest with what success was for them, or the JBA, and was it successful? And I think to me, what made it successful for a lot of the shit is that they just did it. Like the biggest thing that attracted me to what they had going on or have going on is that there's no roadblocks. Whenever they pull Melo out of school and they like, yo, we gonna find somewhere else to play basketball, bam, they overseas in Lithuania hooping. They go to Lithuania and you know what I'm saying, that whatever, that didn't work out the way they 100% wanted it to work out, or maybe it did. Then they come back here. Then they come back here and then say, you know what, we're going to start our own league, JBA. Bam. 6 months later, JBA gets off, 64 players, 8 teams, travel around the world. JBA USA hits off. In the same time, building a whole brand that is hella popular. We talking about WWE ESPN, FS1, Fox News, Washington, every USA Today, every media outlet is pubbing them and talking about the moves that they're making, and on several occasions became one of the top trending things in the world, right? So when you look at what they were able to accomplish with the few amount of folks that they were able to do it with, and the level that they were able to do that, because if you watch those JBA games, production value and quality, excellent. If you look at the jerseys, dope. JBA USA, dope. The tour, moving around and touching those, the folks inside of it, their experiences, man, immaculate. And I feel like them being able to do that on such a short notice really speaks to like the power that they had, and like their ability to make a decision, plan it out, and then execute. And I feel like, I hope that history remembers that these group of black men were able to do that, and that history doesn't tear everybody down and then make it look like, oh, criminals, bad father, all of these things, because that is the image that we see already from black men on the TV and on the news. And then now it's going to, I hope it doesn't come to a place where it's like, see, told you, bad dad, criminal, businessman, stealing money, such and such, taking advantage. I hope that it don't come down to that. You know what I'm saying? I hope that they realize that this was some shit that was done and it was phenomenal. So I say all that to say, from what I can tell, and obviously I'm telling you that I feel like there's definitely gonna be some 30 for 30s, some Netflix specials, like shit. Even today, man, they got the Fire Festival documentary, do a doc on damn near everything. So the content that is going to come out about this whole story is going to be very compelling and entertaining, and your boy AB the Hero will be here for it for sure. You know what I'm saying? But I think that I like personally really appreciate what those folks were able to come together and create, and what they were able to do in such a short period of time, man. They definitely made history, and it sucks that it may be ending this way, or it may not, but it'll be interesting. And kind of like I touched on yesterday, from what I heard, and they also touched on it in that article, is that they're preparing to let Allen have a moment to share his side of the story as well. You know what I'm saying? So I would be on the lookout for that if I were you all, because I'm sure he will like have an explanation or have some answers or something, and maybe give some more insight from his perspective. I think that this shit is just so interesting, man. Reading that article, I feel like it was a lot of information in there that obviously I wasn't privy to. You know what I'm saying? There's financial records and all of that stuff, which I found so funny, because people would hit me on my channel and be like, how much money did this make? How much money? And I'm like, bro, I was the commentator, you know what I'm saying, for the JBA. I like did some videos for social media. Obviously, I don't have the answers to the ins and outs and the books and all of that stuff, but I only can talk about my experience and the things that I seen and the things that I heard and all of that stuff. I will say this, man. I don't believe, all right, I'm looking at here, somebody said the people who write, my dog might be said the people who write history is going to try to write them out of history. I don't think that they're going to write them out of history, bro. I think that you can't, especially not in today. Because what happens is nowadays anybody can write history. Right now, I have enough content in my possession that like I could put out a documentary about season 1 of JBA USA. You know what I mean? In a year or two, I could do that. I could go sit down with folks and interview them and have enough behind the scenes and all of that from the people who was involved, and I could do it. Like there's too many opportunities for people to just have a voice and an opinion, and there's too many folks who are interested in this for like them to be completely left out of history. And there's too much people are too much compelled. People are compelled by like these type of situations, and especially if it ends the way that it looks like it's ending now. It looks like is for sure going to be some content about it, and people are going to have to remember it, because this is one of the things that I noticed, and I hate watching this kind of stuff, but like, look at what you're seeing on TV: Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, like, where this hours and hours of content of listening to people talk about the terrible shit that happened to them, right? And the only way that they'll be written out of history is if people are not willing to talk about the terrible shit that happened to them and being involved in the situation. But from what we can see is that there's a market for people trying to like exploit and expose, so that'll come up. Even like the people hit me up about J. Ray and his bio and like, oh, I'm exposing it, such and such, and I'd be like, who cares? Like, if you know it's fake, I know it's not right. Other people are saying that it's not right, something's not right. Then like, if we all collectively have that in our conscious, then who are we trying to expose? It's about the information that you have. If you don't believe it, then like, all right, then you don't believe it. But trying to like tear somebody down to just for the sake of entertainment, to me, misses me, man. I like watch this document, and what's so funny is it seems like it's just this social media age, but I watched this like Ted Bundy documentary, and folks were so excited about Ted Bundy and going to trial, and everybody was out and watching, and so it's a bunch of weird stuff going on. But I will so I'll get into this though. From what I can tell and what I believe is potentially coming down the line, when you think about these several things that have happened over the past couple of years, and I talked about the history that's being made and all of the things that they were able to accomplish, what I was saying is that there's a lot of business to be split up, right? So people will be like, I seen it here, folks are like, yo, just buy them out. It's a water company. There's some money being made. It's product on the shelves. There's a whole warehouse. If you follow my channel, you've seen the video that I did. There's a whole entire warehouse full of merchandise and t-shirts and all types of things that like the people got their hands in it, money invested in all of that stuff. They're gonna have to try to split that up. Shoes, all of that. Digital content with the JBA, social platforms, millions and millions of followers, subscribers, likes, and all of this stuff, contracts, TV shows, all of that. So like, it'll definitely be a process, and I don't think that it's one where it's just like, yo, we're just gonna buy them out and then tomorrow everything will be cool and we'll be back hunky-dory. I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on. And then if you really look into it and you think about like potentially who can lay claim to what, right? And I said this before, like in talking with them and just about like the conception of the Big Baller brand and everything that it is today. And if you look, even read it in that article, one of the things that they talked about is, yo, they had these shirts, but then Alan was like, yo, man, like we should, like, let's take it to the next level, man. We could put the work in, you know what I'm saying? Don't go with Nike, do this, like we're gonna do. And even I was told, I think too, like one of the things that helped bring that relationship together is that at the beginning Alan was like, yo, I don't even want the money, like you already did so much work, let me just buy in, I'll buy into whatever you're doing, you keep your money, you focus on basketball, I'll focus on business. And that's what I was saying earlier, that what I was saying earlier is that that is one of the things that I know is devastating to those two guys, is because their relationship was so trusting of like, LeVar, you focus on basketball, you focus on getting the boys right, you focus on, you know what I'm saying, who's gonna play on the JBA USA, what with this, you interact with the people, and all of the behind the scenes business I'll handle. And when you come like talking about business to LeVar, he like, yo, Allen got that. I trust him with everything. You know what I'm saying? And you come to Allen talking about basketball, and it's like, yo, that's LeVar. Go, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, JBA USA, right? in Lithuania, we lost a couple games in Lithuania, right? And folks were like, yo, the style of play is not going to work versus professional athletes. You must change it. You must change it. And folks who were invested in it were like, yo, LeVar, come on, please, please. And LeVar like, yo, it ain't that. Like, my style work. My shit work. They go talk to somebody else. Please talk to them, such and such. No, whatever he say goes. And then eventually he got a little bit more hands-on, and they tweaked that style, and it started taking off. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's the back and forth that they had, and that's the relationship, man. When I tell you that there's two dudes who really brothers from another mother, that was those two guys. And so I believe that over time, and you know, they say time heals all wounds, and I hope that that's what happens. I also say that both of those dudes is from LA, or you know what I'm saying, they both about it. You know what I'm saying? They both about it. They both strong individual guys, and that's how they were able to, you know what I'm saying, build what they were able to build. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. From what I am told, Big Baller Brand All-American game still going on. It's coming up in the next week. Ball family will be there. I doubt if you see Allen there, but for sure the Ball family will be there, and everybody who's invited will still be there and all of that stuff. So that should be dope. I can imagine though, and I think that this will be the crazy thing to happen is, like, if you think about, like I said, all of these different businesses that are put in place, and you go back to what I was saying is like, is a clear divide between who handles business, who handles basketball. If you remove Allen from the business side, you then have to put somebody there who can handle all of those things. That's a hard thing to do. So it's damn near easier to just say, you know what? We're going to split this thing down the middle, sell, especially if you don't potentially have the business, right? That's the thing with business partnerships and like artists and athletes and entertainers. It's like, think about Jay-Z and Dame Dash, Rockefeller Records. Jay-Z was the artist. He was the guy who was the entertainer. When he left Rockefeller Records, he then got with other businessmen, and then now obviously we know Jay-Z during that time, you know, he got his stripes and then is able to run these different businesses, and he's so smart to know, you know, like I feel like this is advice that most smart people say: don't be the smartest guy in the room, hire folks who are smarter than you. So we've seen him do that, you know what I'm saying? So what the task at hand for LeVar, if he's going to like take over all of the business decisions behind the Big Baller Brand, is finding somebody who can run all of that stuff. Water companies, logistics on that, apparel, merchandise, you know what I'm saying? Because they have a very small network. Or you then have to hire a lot of people, and then that's where it gets tough. When you look at companies like Nike and all of this, a lot of their overhead costs is advertising, obviously, but then also paying upper level executives. So like a brand like the Big Baller Brand, how they're moving, if you were to hire somebody who could do all of that stuff tomorrow, they'd be making a hefty penny. And so that's a tough thing to do. But man, what I want to do here now, that's kind of like my thoughts on that whole thing. So I want to go through here, and then I'll see what questions y'all had, and we'll answer those bad boys. I mean, just buy them out. Yeah, we talked about that. Well, now first, let me give you some shout outs. King Beast, what's up, man? Tim Nuke 7, what's up? Rodney Raymondville, what it do? Eric White, Jalen B, Splash George, what it do? Blueprint Style, what it do? Shout out from MIA. Alright, now holla at you. T Dizzle. Dissolve percentage of the company in lieu of ball pressing charges. Prices should drop, in my opinion. You never know, man. There could be a sale going on. Jason Reed, King Beats might be. I missed everything. So I don't think BBB is over for sure. I think that it's definitely the same thing. I've been saying this before for a while about a lot of things associated with the brand. It's not over, but it potentially is going to look different moving forward. According to reports, Allen owns 63%. I would be honest with you. I seen those reports say that, and I don't know how accurate that is. I wouldn't necessarily say I would believe that 1,000%. You know what I'm saying? But at least they got him out early before any money was stolen. Who knows? All-American game potentially is still going on, for far as I know. Let me read it, articulate myself. They're going to try to sweep Baby B and JB under the rug and keep it from influencing others. I think that will definitely happen, but I think it's too late. I think that, well, I would say, I can't say it's too late. I think that the way that this ended will make the next person, it will be a cautionary tale for whoever's doing it next. And it'll be about making sure the folks who are partnering up together are like really checking all boxes and having their due diligence in place. And I feel like, so the next iteration of this will hopefully be like a step above. Because in my opinion, the way I look at this progression of athletes who are beginning to like take more ownership of their brands and their money and like their likeness, I think that it's probably started before LeBron, where you start to see like folks like Allen Iverson, Marbury affect culture of just even outside of basketball, right? When you think about how many guys were influenced by Allen Iverson and his image when he was playing basketball, it was astronomical. Everybody wanted to look like Allen Iverson. Tattoos, braids, and all of that stuff. All of that came from people being like infatuated with Allen Iverson. You seen Stephon Marbury years ago start doing stuff with Starberry and start creating his own brand and dropping the prices. Shaq was trying to do it. So you started seeing that stuff. And then I think you seen LeBron enter the league. And now obviously LeBron signed with Nike, but you see him start to empower his people as executives. So now you see all of these different companies who are owned and operated by LeBron's closest friends who like got the knowledge and information. And I think that was acquired over time. I watched that little ESPN documentary that he had where they talked about, you know what I mean, like they kind of gave more background information on how they built their own business and how everybody kind of took their own paths. And what happened is those guys came into the game under folks, learned for a while, and then started sprouting off their own content, their own businesses, even like Clutch Sports. Rich Paul worked as a assistant like agent for a minute at an agency, and then decided, you know what, I'm ready to throw my own, I'm ready to do my own thing. And then what I think and then so what you see with the Ball family and Lonzo Ball situation, they just came straight into the league. They started in high school. We jumping this thing off like right now. And so I think that is different. It's a progression. So I feel like you got instances like guys like Julian Newman, who I don't know if he's going to make the NBA or not, but they've been building his brand and making money from his likeness and all these other things since they was like 8. So by the time, if he was of the caliber athlete who could make it to the league and then start making money, he would be the dude who you would see. He would be the dude who probably could do it and get it done right. A guy like Zion Williamson would be somebody who, if he could partner with the right folks, he could potentially have a great impact on making money off his own likeness and his own brand. But I think that it'll be down the line, somebody will try it again, and folks will be successful at it. So I feel like hopefully that they inspired a ton of folks. Dante Young from Las Vegas, what it do? Melo grew up together. Yeah, Allen's son and Melo grew up together. Or was it Melo, or I think it was Lonzo? Because this is a long time ago. They've known each other for a long time. And from what I understand, Allen's son does music. And so Lonzo did music. So they connected over that stuff, doing music together a long time ago. And then and it's obviously sports and all of that. And like I said, from what I was told, and I feel like I heard this from both LeVar and Allen, like once this stuff was popping and like they were on that win streak, Allen I don't even think was in the country at that time from what I was being told. And and they were like, yo, I know you about the business, you know what I mean? Because here's the thing, I think that what people are talking about is like Allen's history before he met the Ball family, but they're not necessarily addressing like what he was doing, the business that he was doing afterwards, right? So if you think like they've known each other for damn near 10 years, for 7 years, there's some business that was happening that made him like top of mind when all of this business big baller brand opportunity presented itself. So I think that like people are obviously not going to talk about that when you talk about like how do we frame this a certain way, we're not going to say, yo, yeah, he got in trouble for something back in 2003 and 2010 he got out and then started doing what, you know what I mean? Like, just make it seem like at 2010 he met the Ball family, and at that point they started working on this big baller. It's not what happened. Years and years later, the big baller brand was starting to establish itself, and then they were like, yo, we know you are a smart businessman, can you help work with us? And then things led to where they are at today. So I think that it's this ideal of most people who I've seen talk about like that part where they say like, oh, you know, he got in trouble for this. Like, everybody wants to say like, yo, like, you got to give him a second chance. Like, that just can't be the reason why we didn't do business with you because you had a criminal record. We didn't do business with you because XYZ happened. Like, because most folks deserve a second chance. And I feel like there has to be a period of time where he was doing things that were dope enough for LeVar to say, you know what, bro, could you come in here and help assist with the brand? And then also when, like I said, I don't want this to get lost, they worked together and did a bunch of super dope things. So it'll be interesting how history remembers that. Let me see. Legal business registration document not open to interpretation. They can value or devalue shares, but as of yesterday, yeah. See, real BBB. See, this is where I'll say this, right? And in reading that article, it said big baller brand, right? In every document or anything that I've seen associated with them, it's been Ball Sports Group. So I'd be interested in what those registration documents look like under the name Ball Sports Group, not just Big Baller Brand. Because also, like I'm saying, it is JBA, water, tire. It's a lot of stuff that is all into that whole thing. A brand can still move forward, but in terms of Allen, depends on whether they are seeking legal action against him. I don't know. I will say that I can't imagine them being like, yo, we finna press charges or try to get him arrested. I feel like LeVar is not that kind of guy. I will imagine that people will advise him to do so, but I feel like if it came down to that, he'd just say, we out, we gonna do our own thing. Because they have, like, that's what I'm saying. You gotta look at, if you look at, obviously, you can't judge what they'll do next by their previous moves because they made those previous moves as a collective. And as a collective, they had different folks making so they had, you know what I'm saying? So as a collective, they were making moves in certain kind of ways. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that. But all right, so now I remember what I was saying. Is like they have never hit a hurdle that they didn't figure out a way to get around. There's a big baller brand All-American game coming up, and largely in part because the other All-American games did not accept Melo for whatever reason that they wanted to tell themselves why. And So they created their own thing. So I feel like in the essence of that, I don't believe that this will slow down or do anything, because if there's an issue with the Big Baller brand, I could foresee them going ahead and creating unbelievable balls or finding one of these other companies, because that was one of the things that they were shopping around early on, is partnering with a big one of these major shoe companies and trying to get a distribution deal or something like that through them. I could foresee maybe them partnering with them or setting back up, maybe taking a sponsorship deal or doing something like that, doing some business, because obviously you'd be crazy to think that the phone is not ringing right now. And I think I mentioned this yesterday in my video, is like the beauty of the phone ringing right now and one of these other big apparel companies stepping in and saying, yo, let's work, is that when you talk about sweeping the story under the rug or forgetting that certain things happen, they're not going to let you do that. They're going to put a spin on it that makes sure you remember it in a positive light. So that is the upside to that I'm hoping that does happen. Profile picture. Damn. Somebody told me that there potentially was some deleted images and branding from different things from all the brothers, but I think it'll be interesting to watch those social accounts and see how active they are in the up and coming days and weeks. Public trust. Allen has to pay back money and be locked away for public to reinvest. I don't think that that's necessary. Lonzo Ball, no, I can't take it. I don't think that public trust. We don't live in a world today where we make decisions that last longer than 2 weeks, right? So we'll be upset about something, we don't trust this today, and then in a couple weeks we'll forget about it, and something else will come in and distract us. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So let's see. Sour D Live says a report said Allen persuaded LeVar to start the shoe instead of contract from. I think that that's true. But you gotta go back to this place, right? Historically, we see athletes do what? You come in, you got let's say if you're a top 5 pick, these shoe brands say, yo, we're gonna give you X amount of dollars, and we're gonna and for a lot of folks and families, that's more money than we've ever had. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you have a likeness. Yes, there's a reason why this brand wants to give you X amount of dollars, but we don't even have the infrastructure or the knowledge to do anything with that anyway. So even like a LeBron James coming straight into the league, if he does not sign with Nike and get all of those monies, the only money he has at that time is shit that he's getting from his agent, some other sponsorship deals. But like, you have to have, even just walking into the league, you're not a millionaire until you like have accumulated a couple checks. So like, what I feel like what Allen provided them was some expertise, some information of like, you don't have to take that, because I'm going to show you how we can make this thing work and we can get this thing done the other way. And then that's why they decided to go some other way, because obviously the idea was $1 billion. 3 B's, billion, and they were chasing that, right? So if you a smart man and somebody says, yo, you could take that 25, or we could hustle for 2, 3, 4 years and go ahead and get $1 billion, then like, if you're a risk taker, you're going to go hustle and try to get that Billy. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you in the position that they are, where at one point, Lonzo Ball was the hottest thing in college basketball. Melo Ball was the hottest thing in high school basketball. And like, the train was rolling. Like LeVar was the biggest thing in basketball, so it wasn't far fetched to think that we could probably get 1 million people to go ahead and give us $100, and then we'll be at $100 million. You feel me? So it's interesting, and I think that this is one of those situations, going back to where I started, of it's important to look at all of these decisions that have been made over the past couple of years within the context that they were made in. Not just the decision and then the result, but the context around it. Why would you turn down a deal from Nike? What would make you want to do that? $25 million. Why would you turn down $25 million? Because you're trying to get $1 billion. Why would you create your own basketball league? Why would you do all of these things? Why would you go against the grain so much? Is because your aspirations are bigger than what typically is offered to you when you're in those positions, because you're entering those positions in a place that's much bigger than what is typically than where someone would typically be when entering that position. So you may be the first round draft pick. This is what I made a video about this a while. Ben Simmons was the first round draft pick in a while. LaMelo Ball had more social clout than Ben Simmons did when Ben Simmons was the first. There's more people right now, probably globally, who would recognize LaMelo Ball walking into somewhere than they would Ben Simmons. If you took like the top 5 picks from the NBA draft last year, Melo Ball probably has more face recognition than all 5 of them combined. Jello Ball is somebody who probably has the same, if not more, than most of the players from the top 5 in the NBA. So when you talk about personal brand and likeness, like, they just started at a different place than other people. So it just made sense for them to chase something different. Why do you think Jello didn't go to London Lions? He should have, in my opinion. I think that, what's up, Ram Clem? That's my guy, man. Shout out to him, man. Hey, go subscribe to his channel. Follow my dog on Twitter, too. I think he didn't do it because he's trying to get into the G League. I feel like most people, like, think that, like, for some reason, they just didn't offer him. He didn't get it. I just think that people don't really look at the context, once again, of certain situations. Obviously, they wanted to do Summer League, but he got passed up. But they never attempted to get him on a G League team. I feel like that is a more open option, and probably always has been a more open option for him than a lot of people give him credit for. They just really didn't want to do that. Yeah. I was a brand guilty by assumption. That's why I misbehaved. For the G League, yeah. I'm from the UK, and next, nobody cares about basketball. And that's another thing, too. But that's also Mega HHH talking about the UK basketball scene. But that's also why you want a guy like Jello to come on your team. And that's also probably why, if you got some bread, you may give him more money than you would give anybody else. Offer him different opportunities because nobody cares. You think, like, if you bring in a celebrity, you know what I'm saying, then, like, you may be able to drum up some interest. So the opportunity is there. It's about being, like, think about, like, this thing of being a big fish in a small pond. Think about right now in college basketball. Look at Duke. RJ Barrett, Zion Williamson, Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish is a dude who, on 99% of college basketball teams, is the best player, has the green light, go out there, we give you the ball, what offense you want to run, you can do it. But on Duke, he's a third option, and they never really get to a third option. You know what I'm saying? You take a guy like Jay Morant. On Duke, if he plays for Duke, we don't know who he is because he's not getting the opportunities that he has, right? So you look at the London Lions and the potential of that to then say, if I go do this, what opportunities may I have then, like, I wouldn't get if I went to the G League, right? You could go play in the G League and you potentially get to move up and play in the NBA, or you could go to the London Lions potentially and be the face of a damn near a country, a basketball for a whole country potentially, which is what will happen. Saying LaMelo more famous than Luka Doncic and Trae Young combined is it? I didn't say Luka Doncic and Trae Young. Now Luka Doncic is different. I was talking about. I did say the last 5. I was talking about the year Ben Simmons. So that's what I was saying. When Ben Simmons went, that was the year I was talking about. Luka Doncic is a guy who, back to the same thing, he's been playing pro ball for a long time. He played EuroLeague. His brand is much bigger than the NBA. He came into the NBA with a much bigger brand. He's already been putting that together. But I think that, but even to that, that's the point. Like, LaMelo Ball's brand is either slightly bigger or just as big as both of those guys, Luka Doncic and Trae Young. Trae Young, who dominated at Oklahoma. Luka Doncic, who was the Final Four, who was the MVP of the EuroLeague. And you got a 17-year-old who, brand-wise, is on the same level damn near. Exactly. Jonathan Perkins Melo is the hottest 17-year-old around. So what's next? I want to see the Ball brothers. I want to see the Ball brothers succeed, man. I believe that they will. I think that this will be a gift and a curse for them, right? Because this will be an opportunity for them to hit the reset button in a bunch of different lanes. And it'll also be an opportunity to have a scapegoat and say that, yes, some of the things that we've done that maybe some people have found distasteful may have came from this decision maker who we are no longer affiliated with, and will open up certain doors. That can be a point without being annoying. Face of the company. Let's see, Jalen B. Still haven't heard you clear up anything about JBA leaving up lies. This is the thing. I'll go there real quick, but nobody. I already said this. Just nobody cares. That's why I'm still there. Like, nobody cares. I feel like, I say that again. Nobody with inside that organization cares, right? And then when you look at the things that are happening right now, what's the most important? Let's go back and fix player bios from the JBA, a league who we don't even know if it's coming back or what it looks like today, or like, let's figure out how we can push forward. We got Melo in high school. We got this. Like, I think that's why, like, that's not a big deal to folks with inside the inner circle, is because just nobody cares. It's not something that's an important thing. I know that for a lot of fans, like, it matters, and it's like, it's about the image, and you want it to mean all of this stuff, and that's part of it. And to me, that's just great marketing. The fact that folks care so much speaks to the marketing and the buy-in that they've been able to get for folks around the JBA. But at the end of the day, that's why, like, that's not a concern to most people, is because it's context. For most people who would be involved with that, you would understand why, if somebody was lying, why they would lie in that context. And you would also understand why, if they told the truth or it was found out to be a lie, how that would not necessarily change your opinion of them in that moment. And especially in sports, where everybody gives you 2 inches. If you 6 foot, you 6'2". If you shot 45%, we're going to give you 47. Where everybody stretches the truth in sports to just make themselves a little bit more grand. If you got a 39-inch vertical, we're going to go ahead and round that hole up to 40. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way that those things happen. So I feel like that is why just nobody is in a rush to go back and change it. Could somebody change it and have it be done in a quick second? Yes, but I just think that the folks who would make that call are, like, worried about so many much more important things that hasn't been done yet. Attention if Melo go there. I think he's eligible for those new contracts and might play with Jello again. I think that, here's the thing, right? regardless of what happens next year, Melo will end up in the NBA. So like, while playing in the G League would be dope, you can go get $125,000. The truth of the matter is that there's these other leagues overseas that will pay you triple that, 5, 6, 7 times that for 1 year. So Melo, a guy who's a part of a reality show that brings in millions and millions of dollars, a guy who has a part of a brand who has brought in millions of dollars over time, like, he could go and sign for $125,000, go play in the G League circuit, and G League would probably have more attendance than they would probably have ever had it forever, right? Or he could go to one of these leagues around the world who, like we've already said, he's the hottest player, 17-year-old basketball player in the country, and would offer him triple that, 5 times that, and then would also put them in another market. He's also already used to playing basketball in different countries. He played in Lithuania, played in 17 or 16 different countries within the JBA USA. So, like, while the G League sounds like a good idea, like, it doesn't really benefit him that much, because regardless, he's going to be drafted. And regardless, whenever he does get drafted, he's going to be drafted with more money in his pockets than most players come into the NBA draft with on a daily basis. We're going to expose Allen on Ball in the Family. If you look at the credits to Ball in the Family, Allen is the executive director of Ball in the Family. So I don't think that that's going to happen. Adam wanted just higher, slightly tweaking his stats. Most of his career is made up. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it could be a fact. They could not have a bio at all. It could be blank. And that would be equally not as true. So it's like, which one is worse? You have nothing there, or you have too much there. Like, both of them are lies, but you know what I'm saying? Delivery struggle in the beginning was probably because at the beginning there was a lot of orders. Oh, there was. Think about this. I was talking to folks who work in the factory. At one point, they were doing $1 million in orders a month. Right when, and you have to believe that while they thought that they were popular, like, nobody. You don't start a business expecting, like, yo, I know for a fact we finna do 1 million t-shirt sales and socks and all that shit in 1 month. When he was on WWE, ESPN every other day, business was booming. March Madness, business was booming. Melo scored 92, business was booming. So shit got behind. I can imagine. Was another goal overseas for a first year to get exactly. But he did it for a different reason. He didn't have the Terrence Ferguson. So Sour D says Terrence Ferguson was another go overseas a year. Forget. He definitely did that, but he didn't have the options that Melo has for sure. Immediately, we're going to find out what that means. I think that it just means that. Here's the thing. Like, if you read that article when it talked about his agent and not making certain decisions. I don't think that people realize the decisions per se that were being made for the brothers, social media, all of these different things, and I think that that's what he means is basically like he not. If you watch the show, I remember there was one episode, it was a pop up where Lonzo was trying to get to the studio and Allen was telling him, like, no, we got like 5 more minutes, stay here. And then he ended up staying for a whole extra hour. I feel like when you say I'm cutting, severing ties, that's what that means. Like, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Let me see, man. I'm going to get ready to hop off here, man. So if you got some questions, we can go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. But throw it in here. I told you guys a year ago, Pastor Roman Wilson on Sports and News and More. I would say the boy RW did mention this a while back, man. So it's interesting to see how things come full circle with that situation. I mean, always on the facts. Express. For sure. On BBB, let's see what else. Why go to Nike when you have your own brand? Look like Zoe going tonight. I don't know. Newspapers go back and fix mistakes all the time. Yep. Says it's my favorite. I hope BBB stays. My favorite brand too, man. The JBA, they got the water, man. The hats and the merch. The interesting thing, I got so much BBB clothes, man. So we're here. You know what I'm saying? So it's my favorite brand too, man. And I would say, and this is the thing, is it was one of my favorite brands before any communication was had or talking with them about anything, man. I used to make so many videos about just the Big Baller brand and some of the moves that they were making. So just as a fan and a supporter of the brand, it is this whole situation just sucks for me to see that it's happening and going down the way that it is. Ram Clem, man, you still in here, man? How you doing, man? Everything good over that way in Lithuania? What the hell is going to happen with Melo cutting? Exactly. Why would you think? Why you do something like? Why you think he would do something like that? I don't know, man. Got all that. Yeah, man. But shoot, we got all the gear, man. I wish one of these days, man, I should do a BBB like fit thing. Yeah, I met Allen in person, man. Allen is a good dude, bro. That's what's so crazy about this. Allen is one of those guys who, if you talk to him, like, he's going to like inspire you. He's like a dude in a good mood. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a salesman. He's a dude who has a dream and a plan and he can sell you on it. He's a good dude. Like, when I went to LA, I got a vlog on my channel where I went out to the like, Allen is the dude who picked me up from the airport, dropped me off at the airport. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy who we went to go eat with the folks who, like, the staff. You know what I'm saying? He was the dude who went there and did that with us. No, it's not a sweatshirt. It's a JBA t-shirt. So, like, he's a good dude for sure. Like, you know what I'm saying, to know and talk. He's a guy who, when I first met them, right, I'll tell you this. So, like I said, send me an email saying, yo, we appreciate what you're doing, the videos you're making about the brand. We want to send you some stuff. Then I was like, man, y'all going on these JBA trials. I would love to slide through. Find one that's close. They were going to Chicago. I drove up to Chicago 3 hours. I, like, got into the facility. Facebook Live and all those people were there. And then Allen was there. And I was like, yo, man, he was like, oh, shit, hey, B, what's up, man? And then it's like, yo, come over here, man. It was closed trials, right? And he's like, yo, you got your stuff. You can film, take pictures, whatever you want to do, man, go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the amount of love that they showed. And this was after that some folks had already snuck into certain trials and was getting footage when they weren't supposed to. And he was like, yo, take pictures. You know what I mean? They had the people making sure you couldn't come in with a camera. There was guys out in the lobby who was like, bro, could you talk to them and help me get in? And he was like, yo, so I'm on the court getting interviews as they passing out shirts. You know what I mean? So, like, that is the, like, what is my one guy last year? Damn, no, I just forgot my dog name. In Atlanta. I want to shout my dog out. I think he on his Instagram is like All Ball News or something like that. But so you remember last year when your boy RW was going at Allen, and then my dude from it's All Ball News. Damn, I cannot think of his sports something. He like made this video kind of in response, and like and he reached out to me, so I met up with him in Atlanta, and then Allen just recognized him from, like, watching his video in response to the bad things that people were saying about him then. And he was like, yo, I remember you, man. You said something for me on my bed. Come down here, man. You got your camera and just let him vlog and do whatever, and just gave him passes to be. You know what I mean? Like that's just the kind of dude he is. So I feel like he's a good dude, man. But so that's what also makes this shit just a sports inside angle. That's it. Yes. Sports inside angle. That's the guy. He was damn, and I just forgot his whole first name. Let me see. He was he kicked it with us in Atlanta. He actually took me to go get a haircut and all of this stuff, and we went out and got some food and all of that stuff. So is it Tobias? But so you know what I mean? Like that's just oh man, is the nicest guys. That's how they get close enough. You come. I mean, I guess that may be a factual statement. That's knowing what he's done. It would change the way you feel, right? Here's what I'll say. I'll say I'll say this. I am somebody who like I don't know. I'm like somebody who like believe in second, third chances. Like obviously there's a level of like if I feel like you have this capability to do something negative, then like I wouldn't put myself in a situation that would allow you to continue to do something negative to me, right? But I'm also not the dude who would then be like, yo, that dude over there is negative, he this and that and that and that and that, and then just kind of spew that and speak that out, because I feel like people do have times in their life where they make changes. So I don't want to be the guy who's saying that you are not to be trusted or you not to be this, and like you are in a place in your life where you're evolving and coming from that, and I could be hindering that. You know what I'm saying? So like it don't change my opinion that he's a nice guy. I just also just give some clarity to like the capabilities that he may have. All family members are collectively majority share. It would be crazy for them to walk away. Yeah, I would say this, man. It'll be interesting how it all plays out, and I don't think that it'll be it'll happen quick, and I don't think that it'll happen easy. Mostly this is on Rectum. I don't think that I can't say that he did that. The thing is that so many people judge LeVar and put 1.5 Starborn 007. What's up, my guy? I would say this. Here's the big thing that I realized with them that people misconstrue is like at the end of the day, one of the things that LeVar always talks to them about is basketball is just basketball, right? And there's no pressure when you're playing on the court because it's just a basketball game. Real pressure is the guys who are out here living in poverty and having to sell drugs to eat and doing all of this wild and crazy stuff. So like when people say like, oh, he messed them up, like in the essence of the things that they've been taught and grown up to believe, they're not messed up. They're in a much better situation than a lot of kids are. And like for somebody like me who has worked with like youth over the years, like I realize that like they're in a great position. They're in a position where they can bounce back from damn near anything. And I feel like, so if that's a bad decision, like that's a great bad decision to make, because yes, they may be a step off the traditional path to achieving their dreams, but Lonzo still play for the Lakers in the NBA. LaMelo still be there early, because now let's remember that he is graduating high school early this year, then going to sit out a year, and then still going to make it to the NBA while also having a year abroad in Europe and all over the world. to play basketball, also having his senior year of basketball, and then also having his own All-American game. You know what I mean? So all of the things that you would want your kid to have, he's going to get. The difference is that if he would have just settled in and took the tradition away, they would be in a different place. Yes, Melo may be on the draft board as the number 1 pick or number 2 or top 5 right at this moment. But he also wouldn't have a whole Lamborghini and all of the other cool things that he has, you know what I'm saying, in his bag as well. All of these different experiences. So it's a trade-off. You know what I'm saying? They probably wouldn't have this big-ass reality show and all of these other cool things that they've done. So a lot of people say that's a terrible decision, but at the end of the day, man, it's not that. It's not when you think about life and the context of why you would make those decisions and where you are today. Needed a fall guy. Better. Biz Bureau needed a fall guy. IRS need to fall in the country with all the dough. I think that, man, that is, you never know, man. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm somebody who also I've learned to believe in conspiracies. Like, there are people who put plays in motion to stop shit. This Colin Kaepernick thing and the collusion shit is a real deal situation. Like, it's a viable. It's a real thing. But I'm gonna hop up off here, man. It's been real. It's your main man, AB the Hero. I got time for 2 more questions, then we gotta go, man. I gotta go get my oil change, man, before the oil change place closed. Also, man, I told you I seen that movie Us last night. Jordan Peele, my dog. I know you watching. I know you watch all my videos. Hey, the movie was fire, my guy. It was fire. DKM, what's up, man? Shout out. I just seen your DM. I will not be in Vegas, but the BBB All-American game is still happening. You can lie a lot to people, but you cannot lie to the RS if they find out. That's a big fact. Speaking of the RS, damn, I gotta file my taxes before it get too late. Good to see you. Yeah, man. I'm gonna be on here more often, man. I got some content coming, man. I've been working freelance doing some video stuff, so it's taking time away from my ability to consistently pump out videos, but I like doing the live stream shit. So, man, I may do some more short form / long form live stream situations as well. Also, Truant doesn't want to face criminal charges. Needs to release this year, man. Have a great day. Bag of Ghosts. That's my. Hey, what's up, Bag of Ghosts? Shout out, man. Shout out. That's my dog right there. Bag of Ghosts, man. Could you leave us with some words of wisdom? A. Smith say overtime. If Lonzo wants to regain, all right. But folks, that is it, man. That's really all I got for y'all today, man. Like I said, it's your main man, AB the Hero. We're gonna slide up out of here, man. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, man. If you watch this, you still around here, make sure you hit that bell and turn on them bad boy notifications. You know what I'm saying? And keep holding it down for the hood. You feel me? That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, we do this for the culture. We do this for the you know what I'm saying, the streets and the people who love to love. Let me give y'all some words, man. Let me give y'all some poetry real quick, then I'm gonna slide out on y'all. All right. It takes time to take time, but it takes a man to be a man. It takes understanding to stand, but it takes patience to not be a patient. Blessings.